Hi everybody, happy Word Wisdom Wednesday. Today I want to talk about vulnerability because vulnerability is something that it's hard for us to do. I was originally going to make this video today and just talk about vulnerability, I guess from an intellectual place or from an academic place and sort of explain what it means and explain how we can use vulnerability to improve our lives. But instead, I've decided that I want to just come out and be vulnerable because, yeah, I don't know. I think being vulnerable is the key. And I've been feeling overwhelmed lately and a lot of pressure lately. And moving forward with my new vision for my career, my online business, for my brand, all of that, with this like level of speed that I've been then forgetting to enjoy the ride. And that's been tough for me because literally a bunch of what I teach and talk about is how to overcome your overwhelm, how to enjoy the process, and how to alleviate pressure. And yet for the last week or two, I haven't been essentially like walking my talk. And so I know that we all go through ebbs and flows with what we're learning in life and what we're doing in life, but I was allowing that current struggle of feeling overwhelmed about what I want to do, it was then causing me to feel like a fraud and an imposter because I spend my time teaching people how to get over their overwhelm, and yet I'm feeling overwhelmed, how to bring joy into their life, and yet I was doing the things I want to do, but without the joy, without allowing in the joy, because I was feeling too much pressure to make it work, to succeed, to do it right, which I know is based on culture, and I know that that's based on upbringing and false beliefs and old patterns. But that's the thing. Sometimes that's knowing that stuff isn't enough. It's important to really take action steps to overcome those things. And so the action step I'm taking today is to just be vulnerable and express that to you guys and tell you that like I don't have it all together either. I am still working through my spiritual transformations. Like one thing that's become clear to me in the last year or so is that spiritual can become an identity, and you can live and inhabit that identity without fully having any transformation, without even having any transformations at all. It's just like, picking up the identity of a banker, or picking up the identity of a grocer, or picking up the identity of a mom or a child, whatever the role is that society has out there. And then if you align with that role, you can get by being that role, excuse me, without ever having to change, because there are also other people living that role. And so there's like a sense of belonging in that. And for me, sometimes over the last decade or so since my spiritual awakening began, I would oftentimes rest on my laurels and remain content with my new spiritual community and my new identity as a spiritual seeker and a spiritual person, and didn't always doggedly pursue actual transformation or try to harness the tools I was learning to use to heal in my own life. Sometimes I would just allow them to be intellectualized, to be a knowledge base for me. I talk a lot about transforming your inner judgy tyrant into your inner cheerleader, because earlier this year when the lockdown first happened, I have this inner tyrant. Like, let me tell you, my judge has this alloy titanium gavel, and he uses it to bash me in the face. That's how judgy I can be of myself. And I consider myself a non-judgmental person of others, like really non-judgmental. Like, you can do whatever, but not me. I can't do that. Like, you can make a mistake and I will give you grace. You can get something wrong on the first time and I will say, keep trying. But me, if I get something wrong, if I don't follow through, I'm just a total waste of life. That would be my internal monologue. And this year, a lot of that changed for me. Once the lockdown happened, I knew I wanted to make a bunch of other changes in my life. I wanted to change my diet. I wanted to change my workout routines. I quit smoking marijuana on a daily basis, all that stuff. And it's all been happening. And a big part of why I was able to achieve those little behavioral changes in my life is because I really went in for almost maybe the first time on my journey and sat with who I was and what I was thinking and what the quality of my thoughts were, and was able to interrupt the tyrant and replace the tyrant with more cheerleader-like thoughts. And I did that through meditation. I did that through my swimming. You just sort of do it through constant awareness. But here's the tricky thing, like there's no arrival point, and that's why I want to be vulnerable and share with you today, because the judgy tyrant can come back anytime without a vengeance. The judgy tyrant is not something that you kill off, and it's not something that becomes not a part of you. The whole idea with spiritual transformation is a process of integration. And so once I sort of understood the voice of my inner cheerleader, I think I just shoved down the voice of my inner tyrant instead of integrating that voice and saying that voice is valid too, because it helps me understand a part of myself. Not because I need to believe it, not because what it says is true, because I'm not going to assign those insulting judgments and make them part of my identity because I know that they're not true. But that propensity to judge like that, to be tyrannical with myself, that propensity is a part of who I am. And the more I try to shove that propensity away, the more it wants to come back with a vengeance. But when I accept that propensity, it dissolves, it softens. And so what was happening for me over the last couple of weeks is I was, without even realizing it, I was listening to my judgy tyrant again, telling me, hey, you're a fraud because you teach people how to get over their overwhelm, but now you're here overwhelmed. So you better just hang up your shingle altogether and stop doing YouTube videos and stop life coaching and stop all of it because you're not walking the talk anymore. Your transformation was bupkis, you're bupkis, move on. And without even realizing it, I was in the throes fully of unconscious state of awareness, listening to my judgy tyrant all over again. And that's something I thought I'd conquered and have been teaching other people how to conquer. And I had a life coaching session a couple days ago with a fellow coach, and I just told her, I was like, I'm feeling this imposter syndrome big time, and I don't know why. There's this like anxiety in my gut, and as we started talking, I realized I was listening to my judge again and not listening to my cheerleader. And it was because I tried to devalue the judge, dishonor the judge, and deny the judge's existence. And what I realize now is that being vulnerable, whether you're being vulnerable with others or being vulnerable with yourself, means to integrate and honor all the parts of yourself, even the parts that you wish didn't exist. Well, they do, okay? They do. And if there was an ugly part or a perverse part or an evil part or an angry part of a person that you loved, like your lover or your mother or your children, you wouldn't be telling them, you have to be fixed. You would be loving them and saying, hey, that's okay. We all think like this. We all feel like this. We're all capable of that kind of stuff. But when it comes to us, we don't allow that same kind of grace, or at least I oftentimes don't. So the big lesson for me this week was to treat myself the way I would treat other people. Like the golden rule isn't just treat others how you want to be treated. It's treat yourself how you generally treat other people, because we all offer grace and compassion for the most part sort of automatically, especially to people who are in real need. When you see someone suffering, you see someone crying, our hearts immediately go, how can I help? Or, what can I do? Or, I wish them healing. But when we're struggling, when we're suffering, we go, get better, be stronger, do more. That knee-jerk reaction is the inner judge. That is the inner tyrant. And it's not going away. It's a part of who we are. It's a part of our training from birth, and it's a part of our ego aspect that wants to keep us safe and push us forward and help us do. But when we can learn to identify that for what it is, and then take a step out of it, and instead of judging ourselves, offering ourselves compassion and grace, we can move forward at a pace that we prefer, or even if we stay at that same slow pace, we can move forward with joy in each moment, injecting joy into the moments. Like, this is probably one of the more enjoyable videos I've made lately, because I'm just being honest with you guys, and I'm just telling the truth about where I'm at, and I don't have it all together. And I've taken the pressure off of having to teach something that I'm not currently living, because I do make an earnest effort to walk my talk, and sometimes if I'm not walking my talk, that's not the end of the world. I'm doing my best. I am doing my best, and so are you. So if this resonates, just take a load off. Congratulate yourself and enjoy all the progress you've made during 2020, during a pandemic, during a lockdown, and during one of the most unprecedented times of our lives. I love you and I trust you, humanity. Keep going. See you in the next video. Bye.